If you're a parent who's tried every possible way to help your child with their health issues, but nothing seems to offer that long-term solution and get the results that last, I'm glad you're watching this video. My name's Dr. Matt, and I'm a chiropractor at PwC Chiropractic. Now, watching your child suffer from inflammation, gut problems, sensory overload, mood swings, it's emotionally draining. It's so hard. I've got 4 kids at home, and I know whenever they're sick, I want to get to the root cause of it. But a lot of times, parents, we're left to this, let's put all these challenges together on our own, right? We go to the specialist, we go try this medication, we, try that one thing, but it seems like they're all just not working together. Well, this video, I've got some good news for you because the vagus nerve, it's actually an overlooked key player in putting everything together. The vagus nerve coordinates many of the processes and systems in the body that are linked to, mood dysfunction, sensory process disorder, gut struggles, inflammation, all of those things. And in this video, we want to specifically address parents that are looking for the lasting improvements to really get to the root cause and go on that realm with a drug-free approach because it's all linked together by the autonomic nervous system and the vagus nerve. Now, being in healthcare for a long time, I am absolutely obsessed with the stats. Now, according to the CDC, 1 in 36 children are now diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, while ADHD diagnosis recently just topped 1 million between 2016 and 2022. Now, these are crazy statistics, right? But they just highlight those life-altering conditions affecting child's quality of life, right? It can be so tricky to find the root cause of these things. Now, genetics, lifestyle factors, they play a role, but there's actually more clinical evidence recently that are pointing to that central nervous system, the operating portion of the body, specifically the vagus nerve, as a root cause agent behind this alarming trend. And that's really why I want to talk about it today, because it can be so powerful for your kids. I mentioned I have 4 kids. I have 4 boys. And very often or not, it is hard to navigate that world of hyperactivity, high energy, and the vagus nerve has been key to us. So let's dive into the anatomy and function of the vagus nerve. Now, vagus nerve, it's an important communication pathway in the body. It connects the brains and the organs. Really, sometimes you might have referred to it as the brain-gut connection, but it also attaches hormones, the heart, works with the lungs, and really a lot of social emotional regulation centers. It's nicknamed the wandering nerve. Sometimes you can call it the great protector, right? Great name, right? The great protector. And it's an essential nerve that coordinates the activation of what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for that rest, regulate, and digest mode, initiating the body's healing resources. Now, the vagus nerve branches from up top here in the brainstem, both sides, upper neck, and makes its way down throughout the neck, throughout the thoracics, and down into the abdomen, where it actually branches out quite a bit. This is why a lot of times injury up top here, whether it be birth process or accident, kids running around, jumping around, can actually influence inflammation in the gut and digestion because of that connection, right? Because everything throughout the nervous system really works together. Now, the vagus nerve, when it becomes dysfunctional or broken down, it can have significant impacts on our kids' health. Now, this disrupts the brain communication from up here, up top, that regulates a lot of those key emotions into our gut. That's why a lot of times with kids, we see whenever they're emotionally stressed, when they're sensory stressed, when they're overwhelmed, what happens? Mom, I've got a stomach ache. Mom, I don't feel hungry. Mom, I've got indigestion. And it's all connected. Now, this can lead to those connections too, but also early on in life, things like colic, constipation, eczema, those other things we don't often associate with the vagus nerve, oftentimes are connected. Additionally, the immune system is key to the vagus nerve because when vagus nerve dysfunction is there, it leaves the body in a pro-inflammatory state. Now, we also know that there's other connections between this, motor tone, endocrine function, all of the different neurotransmitters that your child's fire every single minute to keep them calm And the opposite of that, more wound up, more misbehaving, more hyperactive. So the vagus nerve is so, so key to helping regulate the overall rest and digest systems of the body. Now, one question I get so often from parents is what damages or just disrupts that communication from brain to body? Why is it connected? And when it does get damaged, what does it disrupt? Now, stress hormones that just happen constantly, right? From social emotional tension, from high stress, you'll see that where, kids' shoulders get really wound up. It can also be from stress during pregnancy or during delivery. If there is a difficult birth trauma or a difficult intervention, it can physically strain that delicate area of the brainstem, the neck region that houses the vagus nerve, along with the inflammation that comes after that. The vagus nerve is very sensitive to things like that physical exposure, but it's also sensitive to antibiotics, toxic exposures, nutritional gaps that exhaust the nervous system reserves. Basically, when the vagus nerve gets dysfunctional, it's from an overwhelm, and it's from the brain and body not being able to work through something, and then stress starts to compound. Now, symptoms that are seen that are pretty common with babies, you see a lot of colic, a lot of reflux, a lot of ear infections, because again, the vagus nerve is a high regulator of inflammation in the system. The next question we often get is, how do you find if the vagus nerve is dysfunctional, right? A lot of times as parents, we look at the symptoms and that's what tells us that something's wrong. In a baby, it's colic, it's reflux, it's constipation, it's eat, sleep, poop. It's the easy things, right? Well, what we actually do in our office, being a pediatric chiropractor, is we want to measure vagal tone. Now, you can actually do this in practice and create a targeted, personalized plan to help support that vagus nerve. And we use technology in our office called heart rate variability. Nickname this HRV. This is the coolest thing because it can help us find out whether or not your child's vagus nerve is really functioning properly. Is it more on that rest and digest side, or is it more on that gas pedal stress side? And it's just making that vagus nerve and that vagal tone be more exhausted that's leading into more chronic health challenges. Now, this HRV test can be run in as little as 3 minutes. It's super quick. With kids, we'll use a little ear clip on their ear, or for older kids, we can even do it in a hand scan. When we look at the results from this scan, we can help build up a neurological restoration care plan. This helps us determine the frequency they need, the adjustments they need to help stimulate and activate that vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system. And that allows them to get more on that rest, relax, digest side of it. Now, we know that you've heard of the many natural ways to stimulate the vagus nerve, right? There's deep breathing, there's meditation, go outside in nature, gargle, all of these different things, including the diet and the gut immune inflammation. But nothing is as potent as direct repair and restoration of the vagus nerve, quite like neurologically focused chiropractic adjustments. We have seen it in our practice. It is so cool to look at that first HRV heart rate variability scan and see a nervous system that is really stuck on stress, really stressed out. We call it raging bull, hyperactivity, can't slow down, to see that change happen after a time and frequency of adjustments. Because there's a vast difference between a vagus nerve and a nervous system that is in healing mode or one that is in hyperactivity mode. And to really look at the deep-rooted vagal nerve dysfunction and care for these chronic health challenges, we've got to get to the root of it. Look at that vagus nerve, measure it, quantify it, care plan for it, and then help that vagus nerve get back online. Now, if you want to learn more about how this process works, how to get your child started with care right away, click the link below, visit our bio. We would love to help. The vagus nerve has been so key for my kids, for all the kids in our practice, that we want to help you get to the root cause of your child's struggles, to not just dance around symptoms and specialists and medications, but get to the root cause and help them heal naturally.